Hi, I'm Andy Jolliffe and I'm a Communities Officer at East Suffolk Council. This video will be an introduction to assets of community value. By the end of the video, you'll understand what the legislation is, the benefits, and some tips on how to go around nominating your local assets. So, what are assets of community value? Assets of community value are buildings or land within our local area that further the social well-being or the social interests of the local community. Well-being isn't defined within the legislation, but social interests might include cultural, recreational, or sporting interests. Why nominate an asset? Listing an asset gives the community a little bit more control over the future of that asset. If the owner decides to sell it, the nominators have up to 6 months to gather funding, business plans, and organise themselves in order to make a bid. However, the legislation doesn't make the owner sell the property or the asset to the nominators. The key benefit of this legislation is that it gives the community group time to draw that bid together and prevent it from being snapped up by private businesses or other developers in the meantime. So, what is the nomination process? There are 5 steps to nominate an asset with the East Suffolk Council. Step 1, identify the asset. Look around your local parish and the local area and identify those properties or pieces of land that are of value to the community. Remember, we're looking for improving and furthering the social well-being and the social interests of local residents. Step 2, prepare the nomination. Gather all the information you need to complete our application. If the asset isn't currently available to the community, for example, a business closed over recent years, you need to explain in your nomination how you would bring it back into community use in the near future. Step 3, submit the nomination. Complete the application form, which is available online via email or by post, and make sure to keep copies of all the documents you've submitted. That will help us avoid any delays later on during the consultation process. Step 4, council assessment. East Suffolk Council will then review your nomination, engage with other consultees, and make a decision within 8 weeks. That decision is made by 2 of our heads of service. If we have any questions about the nomination or the application submitted, we'll get back to you within the first few weeks. Step 5, decision notification. If successful, your nomination will be added to our list of successful community asset nominations. So, what happens next? Once your asset has been listed, it remains on the register for 5 years. If the owner during that time chooses to sell the property, they have to inform the council. This then leads to an interim moratorium. During the first 6 weeks, the owner of the asset cannot sell it on the open market. This gives time for the nominees to decide amongst themselves whether they'd like to take the full 6-month moratorium to draw their funds together, create a plan and submit a bid to the owner. During the full moratorium, community groups usually gather their funding and submit a bid to the owner. However, the owner is under no obligation to sell to the community group. So, what support and resources are available? East Suffolk Council offers various resources to nominating groups to help them through the process, and they're all available on our website. Communities officers are also ready to answer any questions you may have throughout the nomination, and we're also able to connect you with other parish councils and community groups that have been through the process successfully in the past. To wrap up, nominating an asset of community value enables communities to take greater ownership of the things that are important to them in their communities. However, it's important to remember that the legislation isn't there to prevent development. It's there to give time to local communities and organisations with the intent of bringing these assets into community ownership. If you have any questions or need further assistance, send an email to communities@eastsuffolk.gov.uk.